The sun shone through the sal trees, casting intricate patterns upon the earth. Where the disciples had gathered silently, Buddha sat serenely beneath the ancient tree, his presence emanating a profound calm that enveloped the disciples. "We shall speak today," Buddha began, "of the nature of material success and its deeper implications for the soul." The disciples leaned forward, eager to absorb the wisdom that their teacher was about to share. "Resistance is born of fear," he said, his voice gentle yet resonant. "Fear of losing what we believe to be ours." The disciples leaned closer, their expressions a mixture of intrigue and contemplation, seeking clarity in the enigmatic words of their teacher. One day, as Asita strolled through his garden, he noticed a single lotus flower wilting by the pond. Disturbed by this, he summoned his gardeners and ordered them to replace it with the freshest bloom available. The gardeners did as commanded, planting the most vibrant lotus they could find. Yet it withered by dusk. Asita grew frustrated, for his wealth seemed powerless to restore the beauty of a single withering flower. He summoned botanists and alchemists, offering fortunes for a solution. Yet the lotus continued to fade away. Determined, Asita sought the advice of a revered monk, known for his wisdom and connection to nature. The monk, seated under a simple canopy, greeted Asita with a gentle smile and listened to his plight. After hearing the tale, the monk picked a pebble from the ground and tossed it into a nearby pond. "But Master," Ananda asked, "is it not natural to cherish what we hold dear, to value our attachments and love them?" Buddha smiled, his expression imbued with compassion and warmth that spoke to the depth of his awareness. "It is natural to care," he replied, his voice steady, "but not to cling. Love is not possession, it is liberation." The disciples exchanged glances, each grappling with the concept of clinging. Its presence felt keenly in their own lives. He noticed that while his treasures were many, they had become barriers, separating him from the essence of joy. Asita decided to give generously, but not as a display of power. Instead, he gave to build connections. He donated to those in need, ensuring his wealth became a bridge, not a wall, between himself and others. Asita found that each act of giving kindled a spark within him, filling the void wealth had left behind. Buddha gestured for Sudama to approach and sit near him. "Sudama, focus not on avoiding sorrow, but on understanding it," he said, his tone comforting yet firm. What nourished his soul was not possession but connection. Material success is not inherently wrong, but its value lies in its ability to foster meaningful relationships and purpose. Without these roots, it withers like the lotus, detached from the life that sustains it. The disciples sat in contemplative silence, the story reverberating within them as Buddha's voice trailed into stillness. He gestured toward the horizon, where the sun now illuminated the land, banishing shadows that had dwelled in the night. "Embrace change, and you find liberation from pain. For acceptance brings clarity and resilience in the face of life's storms." The grove seemed to breathe as one, as the disciples absorbed the profound lesson offered by their teacher. Buddha closed his eyes, resuming his meditation, while the disciples pondered the essence of the tale and its resonance. Another day, beneath the canopy of the sala trees, the disciples gathered, eager to absorb the teachings of the Buddha. Buddha, seated with unshakable poise, began his words with a calmness that resonated deeply with all present. "Consider the tree," he began, his voice a harmonious blend of teaching and storytelling. "It sheds its leaves each year without resistance, allowing new growth to flourish. There was a king, mighty and revered, who sought to measure his worth by the extent of his possessions, believing his treasures mirrored his greatness. He ordered a grand chest to be filled with the rarest gems. The tree does not lament its losses," Buddha said, his tone filled with compassion and understanding. It accepts its impermanence, knowing that change brings renewal, transformation, and growth. Despite his treasures, the king found no contentment. His nights restless and plagued by an unnameable void. One evening, disguised as a commoner, he wandered through the kingdom, seeking answers to his unease. The disciples followed, their minds and hearts attuned to his wisdom. Upon reaching the Bodhi tree, Buddha gestured for them to sit once more. The king pondered the villagers' words, struck by the simplicity and truth woven into them. Returning to his palace, the king stood before the grand chest, its contents suddenly heavy with meaninglessness. The disciples reflected upon the lessons of impermanence, their minds attuned to the truths presented by their teacher. Their doubts easing, Buddha stood, his movements measured, his expression serene, preparing to continue his journey to those who awaited his guidance. "Remember this," Buddha said, addressing the group as a whole, his voice resonating with clarity. "Change is not to be feared, for it is the river that carries you to new horizons." Buddha paused, his gaze sweeping across the attentive faces of his disciples, their thoughts etched in their expressions. "Disciples," Buddha said, "the king's transformation holds a truth treasure. Serve not the soul when hoarded for pride. True wealth," he continued, "lies in its ability to meet needs, foster connections, and bring peace to the present. An empty chest can teach more than a full one when it symbolizes contentment and the joy of enough. Let this story be a mirror for your own hearts. Seek not abundance but the fulfillment of meaningful purposes." The grove, under the starry night, seemed to breathe as one with the wisdom imparted by the Buddha's words. Buddha fell silent, his presence grounding the moment. As the disciples meditated on the profound lesson shared, another day, as the gentle wind rustled the leaves, the disciples gathered beneath the shade of the sala trees. Buddha's serene gaze settled upon them, and he began, "Today we will reflect on distance and the meaning of closeness. There was once a trader, Davala, who yearned for wealth so greatly that he spent years journeying across distant lands. His caravans carried the rarest treasures, silk, ivory, and spices, making him one of the richest men in his village. Each return brought him immense riches. Yet his family grew more distant, their bonds eroded by his prolonged absences. His children, once eager for his embrace, barely recognized the man who stood before them with treasures in hand. His wife, once his pillar of support, spoke to him with the cool detachment of a stranger. One evening, weighed down by this estrangement, Davala sat by the riverbank, his heart heavy with loneliness. He picked up a smooth pebble and tossed it into the water, watching the ripples extend outward in perfect circles. In that moment, Davala realized his life mirrored the pebble. His pursuits created ripples that never returned to him. Understanding this, he resolved to trade no longer for distant glory but to serve the needs of his community. Davala began spending more time with his family, nurturing relationships that had once withered under his relentless ambition. He used his wealth to build a communal granary, ensuring no family in the village would face hunger. As Davala devoted himself to those around him, he felt a joy unlike any he had known in his travels. The village thrived, not because of Davala's treasures, but because of the bonds he rekindled through his selfless actions. "Disciples," Buddha said, "the pebble teaches us that pursuits distant from our core relationships leave ripples but no fulfillment. True success aligns with the heart, ensuring that our efforts strengthen, rather than weaken, the ties that bind us." Let Davala's transformation guide you in recognizing the value of closeness over the fleeting allure of distant riches. The disciples absorbed the story, its gentle wisdom resonating deeply, like ripples across the still waters of their minds. Buddha's voice softened into silence, and the grove seemed to hold its breath, as if contemplating the depth of his words. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.